Babysitters? What seemingly normal parents had dark secrets? I was 17 and needed money for a car. My friend told me about this babysitting gig for the Halsteads. They lived in one of those nice neighborhoods with the perfect lawns and the white fences. Mr. Halstead was a dentist downtown. Mrs. Halstead ran the PTA and always had her hair done. Their daughter Olive was 4 years old and barely talked. The job was easy money. 3 nights a week, they'd leave around 7 for what they called dinner meetings. They always came back exactly 3 hours later, like clockwork. I'd put Olive to bed, watch TV, and collect $80. Perfect setup. Except Olive was weird. Not mean or bratty, just quiet in a way that felt wrong for a 4-year-old. She'd play with her toys but never made sound effects like normal kids do. No zoom noises for cars, no voices for her dolls, just silence. By week 3, I started noticing bruises on her arms. Little ones, like fingerprints. When I asked Mrs. Halstead about it, she barely looked up from her phone. Oh, she's clumsy at the playground, always falling off things. But Olive didn't seem clumsy. She moved carefully, like she was afraid of making mistakes. Then one Tuesday night, everything changed. I was getting Olive ready for bed when she completely lost it. Started screaming and crying, clinging to the doorframe. Don't let them take me again. Please don't let them take me. I tried to calm her down, but she just kept saying it over and over. When I asked what she meant, she went totally silent, shut down like someone flipped a switch. That freaked me out. I texted my mom about it, but she said kids have nightmares and I was probably overthinking it. But I couldn't shake the feeling something was seriously wrong. Olive had been sleepwalking the week before, so I'd set up my old phone in the hallway as a camera to make sure she didn't hurt herself. I forgot it was still recording. That night after the Halsteads got home, I checked the footage from the previous night just to see if Olive had wandered around. What I saw made my stomach drop. The timestamp said 2:47 a.m. Mr. Halstead came out of the master bedroom, walked into Olive's room, and picked her up. She was clearly half asleep, limp in his arms. He wrapped her in a blanket and carried her out the back door. I watched the empty hallway for 40 minutes. Then he came back carrying her inside. This time she was awake and crying silently, tears running down her face. I felt sick. I watched it 3 more times to make sure I wasn't seeing things wrong. What the hell were they doing with her at 3 in the morning? Where did he take her? The next day, I showed up for my usual shift. I tried to act normal, but I was shaking. Mrs. Halstead was in the kitchen making coffee. I decided to test the waters. Hey, does Olive have trouble sleeping? I thought I heard her up really late last night. Mrs. Halstead's whole face changed. Her smile disappeared. She set down her mug and stared at me with these cold eyes. Some things are too grown up for babysitters to understand, Kayla. I'd appreciate if you focused on your actual job. The way she said it made my blood freeze. That wasn't a normal parent response. That was a threat. I finished my shift and left. The second I got home, I told my mom everything. Showed her the video. Her face went pale. She didn't even hesitate. She called CPS right there. Made a report. Sent them the footage from my phone. CPS showed up at the Halstead house the next afternoon. I wasn't there, but my mom got a call an hour later from the caseworker. The house was empty. Totally cleaned out. The Halsteads were gone. I thought that was the end of it. That they'd gotten away. But 4 days later, it was all over the news. Police raided some farmhouse 2 hours outside the city. Turns out it was connected to this insane underground group. They called it reparenting therapy or some sick thing like that. Parents would bring their kids there in the middle of the night for obedience training. Basically torture to make them more compliant. Olive was found there, along with 6 other kids, all under 7 years old. The Halsteads were arrested a week later trying to cross state lines with fake IDs and new names. Mrs. Halstead's hair was dyed black. Mr. Halstead had shaved his beard. They looked like completely different people. I had to testify at a hearing. Sat in a room with a judge and about a dozen other people. Told them everything I saw. Showed them the video again. The lead detective came up to me afterward and shook my hand. He looked exhausted. You saved that little girl's life. If you hadn't been paying attention, we never would have found them. Olive went to live with her grandmother in another state. I never saw her again.